So we haven't dealt with horizontal a lot yet. But one of the ways that I play around with horizontal fabric when I'm dealing with half rectangle triangles and directional fabric is you need to think through what orientation that half rectangle triangle needs to be. So say for instance we need it to be in this orientation, then our fabric needs to be in this orientation before it is cut. We may then rotate it so that we can make it the way that we make our half rectangle triangles, and then we can rotate it back. But take your time and think through, are we doing A or B? And let's go ahead and do another B, for instance. And in this case, we're going to use this fabric in this location and that location inside of whatever quilt we're working on. So this is sort of a hypothetical. So for horizontal cuts, let me just pull out a piece of fabric. This is that sunglass fabric again. I had pre-cut this sort of for a demo, but I don't see this fabric close by. So we're going to grab this sunglass printing in. There's a couple of ways to deal with horizontal cuts. One, an easy way to do it would be inside of your HuRTy instructions, it's going to tell you the size of the piece that you need to cut. So we're playing with 4x8s, 9-inch strip, and then to cut 2 pieces we need 5 3/4. So we're in order to work with horizontal half rectangle triangles, we're going to instead flip it now. So instead of 9-inch high, we want a 9-inch wide piece, and we're going to cut the height 5 3/4, and that's going to give us 2 pieces. So let's kind of look at that just a little bit with our fabric. There's a couple ways you can do it. One is you can cut one rectangular unit at a time. That's going to give you 2 half rectangle triangles like that. So that would be 9 inches by 5 3/4. Or you can cut a 9-inch strip horizontally and then rotate it and work with it as if you're working with you know, a vertical half rectangle triangle. So then when you rotate it, it'll be correct. So this is probably the most direct where you can see, okay, that's our orientation. That's going to sort of be the shape ratio for the final half rectangle triangle. Now I can rotate it and use the HuRTy. Let's go ahead and keep cutting B's just for now, for the sake of B. Start at the top, align the cutting guide with that left edge, touch the arrow to the bottom, and then we have 1. Flip it top to bottom, and we have 2. I actually think I cut this out 6-inch by 9-inch. Always better a little bit more than not enough. Now when we rotate that back, we have our horizontal half rectangle triangles. So let's look at the other option. I'm going to grab my larger ruler here. And I'm going to cut a 9-inch horizontal strip. This is about, I'm going to grab my larger, just regular ruler, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 9-inch horizontal strip. I think this is about a 1/2 yard piece of fabric height-wise. So let me go ahead and cut a 9-inch strip by quote-unquote with height of fabric instead. But we're cutting a 9-inch vertical strip. So we're basically just reversing what we did. Let me cut this down so that it is 9 inches, and we're cutting that selvage off. Just like that. Okay, so now we have a 9-inch strip by whatever our height was of that piece. Okay, let me move some of the stuff out of the way so we can work. And we also no longer need the larger ruler. Now we're going to play with this just like we played and cut half rectangle triangles. Let me make sure this edge is nice and straight. And it is. Okay, so we're going to use this just like we've been doing when with all of the rest of our vertical half rectangle triangles. And then when we rotate it, we'll have that horizontal. Let's cut B's again. So B start is at the top. We line the cutting guide with the edge of the fabric. We're going to touch the arrow to the bottom. Bottom with the B. And cut. And I'm just going to cut 2 of these for now. Flip it top to bottom, just like it was a vertical half rectangle triangle. We just pre-cut our strip differently. Okay, so we're just going to cut 2. We're going to set that aside. We could continue cutting that if we needed it. But now, if we rotate it, now we have 2 pieces. Let's pull out that double Dutch fabric. They're grays, and they're 2 different weird grays. One is a brown gray and one is a blue gray. But you can see the print at least. Just like that. So that is how I work with horizontal fabric, and that is how I work with directional fabric. That's horizontal. If the fabric is a 4-way fabric, a 4-way print fabric, or a tossed print fabric, then I don't worry about, you know, cutting the 9-inch again across the length, or the 9, or reversing the order of the dimensions to cut rectangles out. So I don't worry about that. If it's, I just cut it out and stitch it like it's a vertical, and then rotate it 90 degrees once it's together. But if you have a 1 or 2 way print, then a 1 or 2 way print, then you definitely want to use one of these methods for cutting out vertical half rectangle triangles. I hope that was helpful. We'll talk soon.